Ja, hij komt er. Ja.
Right. Always love a smooth start. Cool. I'll just start over like nothing happened. Yes, so I'm Bram Geenen, and my company is called WEVOLVE. But first I want to address this question here. Why the web is shaping and empowering making nowadays. Because that's also the question that kind of started WEVOLVE and still motivates us in what we're doing. And I think it's a very relevant question. And to do that, I want to illustrate my own experience in this. Because when I was preparing this talk, I suddenly realized, hey, I'm a maker too. And for me that was a bit odd, because I studied at an art school, and there they teach you that you're a designer. So you are a designer and you get a design studio. But I realized that my process was quite similar to what the process of a maker is actually. And so yeah, it's basically getting an idea out into a concept, into a design, and then start making that. So in my case, I often use digital manufacturing tools, like here it's 3D printing some parts of my products. But after that, I also dive into the workshop. So I start to craft other parts of the product. So here I'm working in the workshop of a carbon fiber manufacturer. Sorry? Yes, you know them. Yeah, it's a really cool company. They build strong, lightweight parts for racing cars out of carbon fiber, like smooth spoilers and that kind of awesome stuff. But with their skills and knowledge, I was able to make some really lightweight parts of my products. And I ended up with a product. So this looks like a very straightforward, linear process. But in reality, it looks like this. It's a network. So without the aerospace engineer, I wouldn't have the right knowledge. I needed the printing company. I needed the workshop, the guy that helps me polishing, a 3D modeler. So I needed to be part of this network to be able to build this chair. And I would also say that this is the most valuable and the most hardest thing to achieve. So growing and leveraging this network as a maker, that's the hardest thing. Not design the chair or the manufacturing. Okay, where was I? So yeah, this network, that's the most valuable and hardest thing. And there's also something missing in this network, you might. And that's the people who are going to buy the chair. People who are going to sell the product. That's something that I figured out after I finished the chair. I suddenly had to become a marketeer and spent all my time trying to get it out there. And that's really not fun. So I realized when I would do this again, I would do it differently. I'd seen some examples within the maker movement or within software, and I would take a networked and an open approach. And I think that's an approach that suits a lot of the makers, a lot of the maker companies are taking this approach. And I want to take out one example to illustrate how we do it. And you already mentioned Chris Anderson. Apart from writing a book, he also started a company called 3D Robotics. And 3D Robotics is building, selling kits of robotic planes for unmanned aerial vehicles. So it was kind of a hobby of Chris. We first started a community in that called DIY Drone. We grew into a company. But what Mr. Anderson did was, right from the start, he would share everything that he did. So, and more precisely, he would share everything that could be digitized. So, design files, software, electronic keys, manuals, everything that could be into bits could be shared freely and openly using either open source software licenses or creative commons. But his idea was to sell the hardware, to sell the kits to people that didn't want to. The fourth step was that he shared not through a blog, which is one-way traffic. But he shared using a tool that enabled
to grow a network around the project. So people become a member and start sharing their own stuff, share what they do, or ask questions and answer questions from others. So it grew a network of instantly people start showing what they do. They start building upon the work of Anderson and share what they do. And kind of organically, the networking moves into collaboration. And if you ask me, that's where the important and also cool stuff happens. Here is where people start innovating, trying new things, bumping into new ideas, helping each other out. And suddenly
there is some.
Hello. And suddenly, Chris Anderson became part of a huge R&D department, and that enabled them to quickly improve and professionalize their products and create something of much more value for their company. But interestingly, the same community became also his first market, his early adopters, because they were the people that were going to buy parts from him or kits from him if they didn't want or could make it themselves. And they also became his market research team in a way, because if something was trending within the community, that would be a smart thing to make into a product. And thirdly, related to that, they also became his marketing, so they would spread the word out about what 3D robotics was doing and help him to grow his market beyond the borders of the community. So a very important part also. So to summarize this, being open and networked from the start on enabled him first to have better development, much faster, much more innovative, and also to have an audience. And I want to say it doesn't always have to be about a market to sell to. For some makers, it's all about just reaching an audience, just being in touch with people. But in this case, it's also about making money from that. I've put open between brackets because I don't want to be saying everything has to be open from now on, and that open is always the case. But it is a character that can lead to this network much faster and much more easily. So it can be very important for makers. So yes, this network, growing that network, leveraging that network, that's one of the most valuable things that a maker can do, but also one of the hardest we've seen, and it's still a challenge. And that's why about a year ago I quit my design studio and decided to start a company called WEVOLVE. And WEVOLVE is building a website right now that visualize the communities and the networks around projects of makers, and it enables makers to leverage that network, to grow it, to find others to collaborate with, and to find other projects that contain information that they can work with. So we're building it right now, and we would love to be in touch. If there are makers or projects in here, fetch me up after the talk, and we would love to hear your experience. And well, I think that we are in very exciting times. The relevancy of making and doing stuff, it's bigger than ever nowadays, but also the impact that makers can make on this world. So I think it's an interesting time to be in, and thank you.